My name's Jim Weir. I'm former head of youth services for a charity called FASA that dealt with mental health and addiction, substance misuse issues. I worked there for about 13 years in total and had a kind of rich experience of working directly with young people, one-to-one and in groups regarding alcohol and substance misuse. Why do young people use? The biggest reason that young people will describe is because it's fun, because it's something new to do, because they're curious. Alcohol is a gateway drug. If you begin to use a certain type of drug, that it can open gates to other drugs, and that's definitely true of alcohol. For a lot of people, their earliest experiences of choosing any of the other illicit or illegal drugs will likely be whenever they're already intoxicated from alcohol, so we definitely know that that opens gates. Other drugs such as cannabis, if you're going to get cannabis from a dealer, then it's likely that that won't potentially be the only illegal drug that he or she will sell. So then that has opened the gate to other types of illegal drugs as well. And that's the kind of theory of the gateway, that drugs, and by using those drugs, can open gates to other types of substances and other types of drugs. I kind of grew up in a home where alcohol was a big factor. My dad was an alcoholic, and as I was growing up, my mum later kind of adopted those behaviours too. So I remember from quite an early age that whenever you were dealing with different things, alcohol was the way to choose to do that. I was first drunk when I was 11 and was probably drinking every weekend from when I was about 13. I also hung about with peers that were 2, 3, 4 years older than me, so it kind of brought me into making those decisions before I was probably ever really ready to really look at those decisions. Dabbled with different drugs, you know, cannabis, other illegal drugs, glue, solvents, all of that. Probably more so when I was younger, because glue's not one of those kind of cooler, trendy types of substances. You know, when you're kind of sitting and slobbers are trailing out of your mouth, that's not overly cool whenever you hit 15, 16 and you want to date. So tends to be young people will maybe move away from that and move on to other substances as they grow older. But probably patterns of alcohol misuse weekly from around 13, maybe one night a week, and then building up to 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week. And whilst I would have tried and enjoyed other types of drugs, alcohol was my drug of choice. Alcohol is the most widely used and most widely misused, and second to that would be cannabis, would be you know, causing the biggest amount of issues. Even though there's a big lobby and a big support group for high cannabis, you know, for a lot of people they find that there's no real issues and there's no real problems that they have. Certainly in terms of mass of use and how many people are using it, and the types of issues around, you know, addiction, around problems within education, problems within learning, particularly in adolescence, debt. Also, if people are using kind of dealers who are dealing with that as an illegal drug and they don't pay their debts, then there's always threats. There can be paramilitary involvement, there can be just that wide range of things, criminality and young people becoming criminalised. If young people don't see the reality of that, then they don't believe the message. So I think we have to be really honest. We certainly know that there are factors that make it more likely that young people will have a problem with drugs or alcohol, and they tend to be, you know, if that young person doesn't have a strong family support background, that can, you know, can be a predicator of that. Also, if they haven't done as well within the education system, if they're not in employment, if they don't have any life goals or any clear vision for where they're going in their future, all those kind of things can have an impact. But also, even if someone sometimes may begin to use because they're having an issue or a problem in their lives, so they build a pattern of where when they have an issue or a problem, they use a substance to try and deal with that issue. Not everybody that uses or misuses drugs will, you know, always have extreme problems, but that is a big risk. And I think, you know, as long as we're more honest about that, then young people and adults in general will listen to the message. You know, whenever we always say, you know, somebody uses heroin, they die, and then you're talking to young people in a group who have brothers, sisters, family who use and they're not dead, you know, and haven't died, then they're going to go, well, is everything you're going to tell me then not be true? So I was always very honest, very open. I was very open about my own experiences and very open with young people. You'd have more deaths actually from diazepam, you know, which is a prescribed medication. You know, we've got a huge black market for that as well. So I think sometimes, probably because of media, we sometimes think that certain drugs are more dangerous in terms of a threat to life. When compared against other substances, they're maybe not, they don't cause as many deaths as those other substances, but they're not spoken of as often within media, so we don't really perceive that. And as a result, maybe think they're a little bit safer. And we also may think they're safer because they've been prescribed or can be prescribed. That doesn't make any substance safe, because the fact that a doctor needs to prescribe it means it's controlled. There are definitely some that are more addictive than others, but in terms of the one that's most harmful is the one that harms you most. How do I get a buzz now? I'm a family man. I love my kids, I love my family, I love spending time with them.